I think my husband is going to divorce me. I'm sitting here in tears, feeling like I'm going to throw up. 2 months ago, we got into a fight that was pretty bad. Knock down, drag out. Why are you even still with me if you can say those things to me kind of fight? He shuts down during any kind of conflict or criticism, which really hits my abandonment fears right in the face. I keep persisting wanting to fix it or talk or anything, and he could go a whole week without speaking to me about it, and then act like nothing happened. During our last argument, he screamed that he wanted to divorce me and that we were done, which threw me into an absolute tailspin. The last thing I want is to be divorced. Within a few days of that argument, he came back around and told me he didn't want that after all and wanted to work things out. The last 2 months have been fine. No major arguments, but I can tell that even if there's a slight possibility we will end up in a disagreement, he immediately tries to diffuse it / just appease. I have felt like there has been an invisible wall between us. Last night we got into another argument. This one wasn't as bad, but he said something that was pretty hurtful and played it off like he should be able to say it. We were talking about our lack of sex and how I didn't feel like he desired me, and he said that if he didn't jack off as much we would probably have more sex. He said he does it like 2 or 3 times a week and that he watches porn occasionally. This is where things went south, and he started explaining how much he loves ass and watching reverse cowgirl, but that he also thinks about me sometimes. Then he referred to a show we were watching earlier in the day and said, "Oh, you know when that girl in the show sat up naked in bed, and you could see the line from her thighs to her hips and the crease at the top of the thigh? That turns me on and makes me horny." This is something I've only ever heard him say about me when we are having sex. I've never once heard him say it about another girl. I struggle with my body image, so I always felt like that was something he only felt about me. Clearly I was wrong. No girl wants to hear the gory details of what their partner likes to look at on other people's naked bodies. When I told him that hurt my feelings because it makes me feel like I'm just like all those other girls he gets off to, he told me that he won't apologize for it because I have watched porn, so my argument is invalid. It's not the porn that's the problem. It's taking something intimate between us and saying it about another woman's body. This argument continued into the evening, and he told me that I would never make him get to that point again, referring to how angry he was at me the last big argument we have, because if he does, he will divorce me. Even though he says terrible things to me when he's upset, he says I push him too far. When I woke up, I was so upset after he repeatedly invalidated my feelings and antagonized me. I want to tell him how I felt this morning, and we got into a knockdown drag-out. He was calling me crazy, telling me to follow him around the house, and I gave in. I let him yelling that I was crazy get to me, and against my better judgment, I couldn't let it go. He exploded on me and told me he was done, and that we can't go to counseling and work through things. I feel so sick. We have a blended family with 2 kids, and my heart is breaking. I don't know how I will survive this. I've never felt so low and sick. He says he needs space, and there is no guarantee at this point that it will work itself out. I don't know how to not keep texting or reaching out. I feel so lost. I want to scream and cry. How do I feel okay? How do I be okay with living in the same house while he treats me like a stranger, even though this is both of our faults? How can I stop feeling like my world is imploding? I'm afraid this time is for good, and I will be devastated. Thanks for listening.